Hello, divine, beautiful souls. This is Energy Speaks Podcasts.
We've got Lisa and Catriel here tonight. We're happy to have you on. We hope you all will jump on and listen to this beautiful podcast that we will be doing every Sunday evening Eastern Standard Time from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
This is awesome.
We're both excited to be here. So we hope you guys will jump on, and we'd like this to be interactive. So please do ask some questions, and we're going to try to provide some really great content around how your energy speaks to yourself and speaks to those around you.
Ooh, my favorite topic.
Yeah, definitely.
To start us off, let's take out the guitar.
All right,
let's do it.
We're just gonna get just a little kind of tune here going, just to get the vibe going, with us.
Yeah.
Welcome to Energy Speaks.
This going with the flow thing is pretty awesome. Oh, well, hello, Liat. So where do we want to start?
So, well, we've got a lot of interesting energies going on, and I think, we have to start with the Mercury Retrograde. And although we don't let these things control us, we certainly do like to at least discuss them so people have an idea of how they might impact them during this time, and maybe some things to be a little bit aware of.
Absolutely. I love that. So going with that, let's go to a little bit of astrology talk. And like you said, with the Mercury retrograde. So one little preface that I like to put on with Mercury retrograde is it's all your perspective on life. Mm-hmm. And really that is for anything. Mm-hmm. But with Mercury retrograde, I look at it as an opportunity. Part of retrogrades, which we have a lot going on, not just Mercury. And we haven't, tomorrow it'll officially be in Mercury retrograde. But with a retrograde, from a planetary perspective, it appears to be going in a counterclockwise direction. What does that mean energetically? So specifically with Mercury retrograde, Mercury's all about communication. It's how our inner speak, our outer speak, and putting those connections together. And Mercury can be a little bugger.
That's for sure, yeah.
Kind of think of Loki.
That's right.
So there's a little bit of playfulness with this. And I feel like that's exactly how we should really entertain a Mercury retrograde, is that whimsicalness.
We keep it light, and we know where communication is involved here, Catriel, that we have to be particularly mindful around texting. Already texting gets really misconstrued and whatnot, really misunderstood sometimes. So, it's being careful when you're sending emails and texts and all of those things that can be easily misunderstood. So really get on the phone with someone and have a conversation. And if something is misunderstood, address it right away so it doesn't get out of hand of any sort. So that's just something to be mindful around. We don't want this thing and get all kind of letting this control us. But at the same time, I know personally around Mercury retrogrades, typically something goes funky with my phone or my computer, or there's a miscommunication that I have to straighten out with people. So And that's all good. It's all good. Again, like Catriel said, it gives us an opportunity to be more mindful of things, and then coming back and making sure we speak our authentic truth and we come from a place of compassion and kindness.
Absolutely. I love that perspective. I want to add to that too, because you spoke about technology in regards to Mercury retrograde. I want to do a little bit of an internal piece here on that. So part of a Mercury retrograde is it's giving us the opportunity to take a more internal approach. So that's the same way with, yes, our communication. Like you said, pick up your phone. That's a really awesome idea, and that definitely is better than texting, I will say that. But try to send a telepathic communication. It goes a long ways. And you'll notice, if you just kind of entertain that a little bit, you might actually have someone reach out to you rather than you actually reaching out to them.
Absolutely. So, yeah. So
in the physical, I mean.
Absolutely. And those of you who don't know me, I'm new to Energy Speaks, but I'm Lisa. My practice is Take 5 Meditations, and I'm an energy healer. And I do energy healing with people all over the country on Zoom and FaceTime. So the point is here is that energy travels. And we're all one. And so, we can communicate and know, gee, something feels off. And then you pick up the phone and you call that friend or a relative, and sure enough, something might be going on. So it's amazing when I teach my clients, everybody has psychic abilities. It's an intuitive ability. So it's that energy and tapping into that energy. So what you're speaking to as far as telepathically, we can send that love to that person and they will feel it.
Exactly. What you just said with feeling is literally everything. So not only can we send a thought, we can send a feeling. The other aspect that I love about Mercury retrogrades within that is like, wow, I just had like one of those, like, it went in and it went out. See? That's another thing. You gotta love it. And that's the thing. It's like being compassionate with yourself, what you said, is so true. Because, what I was gonna say is we have the opportunity to kind of see things from a different perspective, like I said before, but imagine a left side of the brain and the right side of the brain. Okay? Say you more operate on the right side of the brain and you're more creative. Okay? You have the opportunity to kind of flip things and see things from the opposite side of the coin during this time. So if you're feeling funky, that's exactly why, because we're not familiar with that side. But it's, again, an opportunity to know that other side to ourselves. Some people associate it with maybe like a divine masculine, divine feminine side. That's also another way to look at it. But essentially, we're communicating from the opposite side of the coin. And, and sometimes I know people that don't necessarily know a Mercury retrograde is going on, but they decide intuitively that they need a break from those around them. And that's also okay too. It's that inner speak that we have with ourselves when we can get in that space of really, truly speaking to Spirit, Hashem, God, whatever the word, is, our inner self, when we can connect there, it's an opportunity during this time to really solidify a lot of things. A lot of people are like so, gung-ho on like you can't start things during a Mercury retrograde. I don't believe that. I just feel that you have to know internally what's going on before you act in the external.
Exactly. And so as a psychic and medium who teaches meditation to people and who does work with people in healing guided meditations, this is a great time to create that pause in your life, to take that 5 minutes and start your practice and just create the silence. Because like you said, energetically, sometimes we're around people or situations that energetically just make us spin. So this is when you go outside and you plant your bare feet in the ground and you earth, or you take an Epsom salt bath and you just allow yourself to detoxify, or take a shower, just again, water purifying. So
Being
we have to
fire.
Yeah.
Those elements, what you just spoke of, perfect.
Yeah. It's so we have to and what the meditation does, it gets you to be more mindful as the planetary energies are changing. You adapt better and respond better. And instead of responding with a knee-jerk response, you stand back, you're the witness to the situation or whatever's going on. And by stepping back, you allow yourself to come from a place of compassion and kindness. And goodness knows the planet totally needs this right now with everything going on in the collective. If we can all energetically come from a place of love and compassion and kindness, my goodness, think about how that is going to radiate out to everybody because energy speaks.
Yo. You know, it kind of reminds me of a conversation I was having with my brother, Jamal. We were doing, we're studying a book right now. It's called Darek Hashem. And it picks apart like so many different types of topics within, like our self, the planetaries, our conversations with Hashem, like literally the soul, all of it. And we had a conversation about the planetaries. Right now, it's Sukkot. It's one of the biggest celebrations in Judaism. And we sit under a sukkah, under the stars, and that's reminding us of something, that Hashem, the greater power of created the stars, the planetaries, created us. And with that, Hashem, God, Spirit, is speaking through all of these elements that, Hashem created. So that being said, this is like us tuning in to like every single day outside of a retrograde and within a retrograde. What is Spirit saying to us? What is the divine Shekhinah saying to us? How are we receiving those transmissions?
Exactly. And you can only do that when you take that pause every day.
Yeah.
When we get in nature, it's so important for our connection to nature, sitting outside in your yard or your screen room and listening to the birds and having your cup of coffee or your beverage in the morning and just taking that pause to take that in. It's nurturing and nourishing for your mind, body, and spirit. And, as some of us as light workers are in a point of ascension right now, we're ascending. We're asking ourselves, what is my purpose on this planet? What is my purpose? What's my bigger purpose? And questioning everything that you're doing right now, because you're like, do I really want to be in this job? Or what do I want to do to step forward and start showing up differently?
And that being said, let's jump into what also is going on into the planetaries. Right now, we just stepped into Libra season.
Aha.
The season of Libra is so beautiful because you're talking about Libra has the rulership of Venus. Venus, if you were to listen to what Venus sounds like, it sounds like a magnet, which is really cool, which means it's magnetizing. What is creating, what chakra within us really reminds us of that magnetization? I don't know if that's a word.
Yeah.
The heart. So Libra is the scales, right? Mm-hmm. It's the balancing. And we balance so much within this lifetime, within the every single day life. And what it's truly balancing is the heart and the mind. Mm-hmm. And most people think the mind's up here. Not necessarily. It's actually in the solar plexus. Why do I say that? Because our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are felt within the soul. It's a much bigger picture. Like, the soul has lifetimes. So it can not only pick up what's going on in that moment, but all time. And so you may be experiencing something, you know, like if you feel certain energies and you kind of feel all like, whoa, what's going on? You could literally be tapping into a moment that was a parallel moment to something that happened that, from, you know, our perspective, like 1,600 years ago when you were in a different incarnation. But it happened to spark something. So that's why it's so important to kind of like when you're talking about meditation and everything, and we're getting into that space, like we're opening up our heart space, and we are going in and dropping it down, that heart energy down into the solar plexus, and moving that around and balancing it out. Every single day we deal, like when we're doing these meditations, we're dealing with the energies of Libra.
And balancing things, exactly. It's a balance of loving ourselves, and what you speak to are those triggers and that shadow work that we have to deal with. So you get a trigger coming up and you're like, well, it could have come from an interaction with a parent early in your life. A lot of times when I work with my clients, that's where that's coming from. And that trigger, after we do some digging, and we do some digging in the meditation, and we go and look at who do you need to forgive. When I take them to the door of forgiveness and we see who shows up, oh my goodness, now we know who we have to pull the power cords from, who we have to cut the cords with, and who we have to forgive. And forgiveness is tough. It's not easy. How do you forgive somebody that hurt you? But the idea is it frees you when you do it. It's deep work, but this kind of stuff is going to show up with you, in you, when you're doing meditations, when you're doing the deeper work. And it's beautiful because now you can release it, and now you can step into what's better for your highest and best self.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, this season of Libra, I can feel the power within it. You were earlier talking about how within the Mercury Retrograde, it's a very positive Mercury Retrograde.
It is. This is one about success, actually. I was reading on it earlier. I'm like, wow, this is welcome considering the pandemic and everything. Gosh, don't we all need a break, and bringing us a good Mercury Retrograde?
I love that. Oh, man. Well, other things that are going on that I want to mention with the retrograde, I wrote some notes down. And I think it's important to kind of realize this. So besides Mercury going into retrograde, we also have Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune, Chiron, and Uranus. So that's a lot of innovations right there.
That's a lot of retrogrades.
Yes, it is. A lot of internal work. Yeah. Just saying. But if I'm not mistaken, um, there's something that's being activated with the Mercury retrograde. It's going to bring us out of some retrogrades when we're at the end of this. I do believe that let's see here. Jupiter is going to come out at the end of that too, around that time. What's super awesome about Jupiter, okay? So first of all, Jupiter is like God's sense of humor, essentially. like that's how I like to look at Jupiter. If you know the story of Jupiter, it kind of he was saved based off of like a stroke of luck. And that's really what that energy holds within Jupiter. But it's also about our storylines. It kind of shares this Akashic records type of energy. If anyone who's Jewish out there, that we just kind of sealed the book of life for Yom Kippur. It's kind of that idea, essentially. Actually, that idea exactly.
But Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Is that correct?
It is. It is. So it taps into this this Akashic records, though, of all the things going on. So when it's in a retrograde, things tend to stop, in a certain way from the external of moving forward with our storylines. Because if we know the zodiac that's associated with Jupiter, it's Sagittarius. There's the storytellers. They're the archers, the ones, the centaurs shooting their arrows into like the universe and seeing what kind of sticks, and so it kind of is a reminder that we're reviewing all of our storyline right now.
And so as we review our story, the one thing I find, again, when I work with private clients, is they get stuck in their story.
Yep.
Right? So what's that mean? We're in victim energy, which is really low vibrational. So when you're stuck in your story of, oh, boo-hoo, me, my partner left me, or XYZ, I lost my job, and I'm not saying those aren't awful things. They are, but if we get stuck in that story and we stay in that story, then what we're going to do, law of attraction, we're going to start attracting that.
Yep.
So you've got to turn that Titanic around and say, okay, this is for me. This is to make me stronger. This is to help me have courage. This is for me to learn a really big lesson.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the thing is when we think about this idea of the Akashic records in Jupiter, it's the divine plan. We as human beings don't know what that is.
We don't.
That's where the other aspect of the Akashic records come in with a different planet, which is Neptune. And Neptune has a lot of hidden stuff there. You gotta think, Neptune's under the sea. It's very watery, but more etherical. Ethereal. But if you think about the different states of water, there's liquid, there's vapor, there's ice. I like to associate that vapor energy with Pisces and with Neptune. And that's also in retrograde right now, which is quite interesting. It's in Pisces at 21 degrees. So, like, specifically the energy that's holding on. I want to break down the 21 for you, just so you guys get an idea of how I look at things. So again, Neptune also deals with compassion. And so the 21 with the model that I use is the 2 has to do with the Cancer energy, which is the feeling. And the 1 energy has to do with the Leo energy. So you're taking those 2 together and you're getting a 3, which is the Sag energy, ironically. And it goes into, right now we're reviewing, what's hidden within our belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, I say reviewing because it's a really internal energy going on.
Exactly. So what have you, since we know we are imprinted until the age of 7 with certain thoughts. So now you have this belief system about yourself. And a lot of this, when I'm working with the private clients, is worthiness, deserving. What are you deserving of? And how we shift those old thought patterns, we release them and know that we are deserving of love and all of the beautiful things that in our life, and that we can manifest those simply by shifting those thoughts.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to also expand with this, as I said, Neptune is in retrograde at 21 degrees in Pisces. It's in the house of Aries. Why is this important? Because the ego will come into play.
Oh, yeah.
With all these belief systems and stuff. Mm-hmm. But there is a loophole. There's a loophole, okay? Because Aries is also associated with the inner child. And what is more beautiful than the heart of a child? Mm-hmm. And when a child believes something so strongly, it's almost that we have to kind of like guide the child to the space of where it can believe wholeheartedly in something again, but for a positive reason, Mm-hmm. And that, when we look at the energies, like that's where we can, take that like, optimistic road. And that's where things shift. And like you said, with compassion and everything, there's that gratitude.
Right. And then the inner child. So what's the inner child? It's the playfulness.
Yes.
It's the lightness, right? So you go back, and again, this is something I work with people with, is we go back to a memory, a really great childhood memory, and you smile immediately. It might be a memory of opening up Christmas presents or going to the amusement park. And in a time with the pandemic and a collective energy that's pretty heavy right now, we have to bring that playfulness in. Because what the playfulness does, it brings the joy back. And what's the joy do? It brings the gratitude back. So what's that do? It expands, and now we're vibrating higher. We're feeling love. We're radiating love. And when we walk into a room, we don't have to say a word because our energy speaks before us.
Ooh.
Boom!
Couldn't done it better myself. That was amazing. I mean, really, like, I look at the charts sometimes and I see this circular energy on how all the pieces fit together for one beautiful story of us expanding. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely incredible how one energy plays off of another. Mm-hmm. And, I think another, like when we get to parts of the chart, when we see, like, for instance, Black Moon Lilith, I want to touch base on something like this when we look at details, because, we can get wrapped up in the details, but it's allowing it to serve us and bringing the awareness to something. Mm-hmm. Because Black Moon Lilith, it talks about our fears and our, like, it can also go into our dark feminine. Mm-hmm. So we look at, for instance, actually the moon that we're in right now and Black Moon Lilith are next to each other. So that means that the moon, our emotions, how we like tune in, like through our emotions, that's playing right now with the energies of Black Moon Lilith. And so also when I wrote all this down, again, the moon changes pretty quickly, but it's at 10 degrees. So at that moment that I was writing that, the 10 degrees represents Taurus energy, which is manifestation, okay? And again, it's in Gemini, so like I'm manifesting some type of a communication, all right? And it's in the house of Gemini. Both of them, both Lilith and the moon are in the house of Gemini, so it's a lot of communication going on. And we already know that, Mercury, is about to go into retrograde. So it's actually in its shadow period until probably in the wee hours of the night. I didn't clock it specifically, but because energy has windows. But for instance, Black Moon Lilith is at 7 degrees. 7 degrees indicates the Pisces energy, which is all about spiritual, like tapping into the etherics, but also that compassion. So like we could literally feel into something in the future and be like, oh God, I don't want to deal with that. I encourage you to look at it. Look at the skeletons in the closet.
Absolutely. When these things, again, start coming up, there are things we want to look at. So we just came out of a Pisces full moon. A Pisces is a water sign. It's emotional. Yeah. So now we got to take a moment and we've got to be vulnerable. And that's one thing I think that COVID has done for us is we've decided, okay, life is too short. This thing has changed our life. We had to isolate ourselves, and now we want to be more vulnerable so that if you're single, for example, you can invite the right partner in that energetically works for both of you, right? So this is, this is kind of like a roller coaster right now, and that's okay. It's a matter of allowing and not stuffing these emotions down. You allow the emotions. We don't let the planets rule us, certainly. This is just an awareness, but we allow it. We allow all of these emotions. We figure it out. We figure the triggers out. We release them to the universe because we ask the universe and tell the universe, we're ready to release this and we're ready to step into something more positive.
Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned the word release. So a lot of times we're not aware of this, but we need contracts, leases, release. So how are we scripting in, something that we feel we are that's serving the highest and best for us, essentially? Because we're all making this stuff up. We really are. Of course, there is a divine power, and that's inevitable. Like that's just right there. But we have free will.
We do have free will. And I can certainly speak to that myself because back in 2013, when I went through my own personal transformation, I had two roads I could choose. I could have stayed the way I was, or I could have chose the path and said, I need to change something in my life. Yeah. So we have the ability, even when you go to your natal chart or your solar return or such, we have the free will to create what we want to really create in our lives and who we want to be. And the idea is the gift of the pandemic is that we can finally walk our truth.
Yes.
And isn't it time that we all walk our truth?
That was the word that I chose for the year. I chose two words, two Hebrew words, emet and emunah. Emet literally means truth, and emunah means faith. And so, they work hand in hand together.
They do.
And so with that, as we walk our truth, we're stepping into having more faith.
Mm-hmm. And whatever that faith looks like, it be a Judaism, Buddhism, whatever that looks like to you.
Faith in yourself.
Right. and it's really, we talked about this morning, it's that surrendering. How do you finally say, okay, I've had enough, I release this, I surrender to the universe, knowing that there's something better in store for me. But you've got to get to that present moment. Because if you're in the future, you're going to be anxious. If you're in the past, you're going to be depressed. This is again why you get to the present moment with the breath, be it through meditation, yoga, tai chi, walking, however you find your point of pause during the day or first thing in the morning. You create that for yourself, and that's where you are going to create that day.
Absolutely. The present is a present.
I love that. That's perfect.
We don't even realize like how much, like you said, you know, if we're living in the past, we're dealing with regret.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just seeing what the comment is.
But if we're trying to live in the future, we have all this fret on how is, you know, whatever going to happen. And the thing is that's when we have the opportunity to give it to a higher power.
Yes. Yeah. And thank you for that comment. Free will is really important. We both, I mean, even I love astrology and whatnot, as obviously you do. But we do have to remember that if we have the heart, the faith to walk and speak our truth, then we can change that path, you know, and we do those contracts. We come back to walk a contract, but we have free will to create the person we really want to be on this planet. And we have the ability to change that every single day simply by one thing, love. I believe that love is the solution. And it may sound corny, but it is the solution, because when we come from that place of love rather than judgment, we can transform everything around us. Remember, judgment doesn't define the other person or the situation, you guys. It defines us. Look in the mirror when you're judging someone and say, oh my God, I'm like that. That's how I changed. And that's why I'm a transparent teacher and a very good teacher, because I looked at my mother in 2013 and I saw a lot of her negative stuff and how I was becoming. And I'm like, no, I don't want to become that way. And that's when I dug in with my meditations, with a great teacher, A Course in Miracles, and all of the things I did to transform my life. And I am an absolute model and example for how you can change your life and walk your walk and walk your truth.
I love that. Oof. Wow. And I love you took ownership of that.
I did. I had to. And I think that's the biggest part of this journey, you guys, is you have got to own your own behavior. You got to own it. If you start blaming, oh, it's their fault. Hello, take a look. Again, turn that mirror around. Look at how you are responding and reacting in this situation. Are you responding with love? Ask yourself that question every single time. And if you're not responding with love, that's okay. Don't judge the situation of yourself. Not good or bad, right or wrong. Stay neutral. Go step back. Allow some pause. Then go back to it maybe the next day or the day after, or when you feel ready, and when you're ready to come from that beautiful, beautiful heart space.
I can definitely speak to that. Creating space is a gift too. So at one point in time, it was very difficult for my dad and I to communicate. We triggered each other so much that it was unbelievable. And I was like, how am I going to like literally even be in the same room? I can feel him, he can feel me, and we just create a explosion together. So then I said, well, this is a trigger. How can I activate something here? Because there's power in these energies. Let's flip it. So it took a lot of training on my part to respond appropriately, because I will tell you, I did not respond very nicely when my dad would come at me certain ways, like, and so I had to do the looking in the mirror, and like at that point I just like was like, okay, let's try to do Zen Catriel. And even if he pisses you off to the utmost extent, you still stay Zen Catriel. And it may tear you up inside, that because your ego wants you to say something or do something.
Yeah.
But let's stay Zen Catriel. Yeah. And I will tell you, he noticed how I started responding. And then he began to do that. And then what was really weird is I was having a rough day. And I came at my dad. And it illuminated, he held space for me as I held space for him. And he illuminated both aspects there, right? And so then he's like, I know you're having a tough day. And he de-escalated the situation. And we saw each other for the first time, our souls just wanting to be the best people.
That's exactly right.
The best hearts, the best beings for each other.
Because now you're coming from that heart place. You're coming from that place of compassion. And thank you for that other comment there about being compulsive reaction. Yeah. How many times have you all knee-jerked? We've all done it, right? Okay, we've all done it. So that's why it's so important, if you get attacked or if you feel like you're getting attacked, that you just kind of take a deep breath and you step back. And maybe you don't respond right away. So maybe you just gently excuse yourself. Mom or dad or whomever you're involved with, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Or I got to go grab a drink. This creates some space in the situation for you to be able to come back. Now, it doesn't mean you have to address it right away. You might the next day or the following day. So, and it's going to work out. Remember, these are all lessons for us for growth. These are all beautiful. We can't look at these as bad situations. That's why I say take the judgment out of it, because this is for you to learn something about you and the other person. And you just gave a perfect example of how you transformed a relationship. I did the same thing with my mom, who was in nursing home for 9 years. I flew back and forth from Arizona to Boston every 3 months. And let me tell you, it was stressful. It was hard, but we learned a loving relationship for the first time in our lives. And it was really quite beautiful.
Wow. This stuff is juicy good
stuff. It
stuff.
is juicy stuff. Yeah, it really, really is. But, again, when you have awareness around the planets and kind of what's going on, you'll understand when you get up in the morning, why am I feeling so anxious? And, one simple trick is if you get up and you're feeling anxious or depressed or something, get some water. There's a lot of evidence around if you can put 2 or 3 glasses of water down in the morning, it's really going to reduce your anxiety. And then, of course, walking or some form of exercise. Don't let that anxiety sit. Get out and get yourself moving. You may not be athletic or whatever, but somehow, even if you go out for a gentle walk, get yourself moving because it's just going to remove some of that energy. Or some qigong, you do some patting on your body and you move some energy, some yoga, some tai chi. Whatever modality works for you. That's what I call building your spiritual toolkit, right? So you get into a situation, you're like feeling anxious. Okay, let me go into my toolkit. I'll grab this. Didn't work this time. Let me try something else, and then that works. So now you build that toolkit so that you have a way to deal with it, and you don't have to go through the day feeling anxious, feeling depressed, or whatever. Okay, you can address those emotions, but the idea too at the same time is, why am I feeling this emotion? What's coming up? What's getting triggered? So again, you don't want to pound it down. Recognize it, open your heart to it and say, oh, I got triggered by that conversation I had with my mom yesterday. Okay, not a big deal. And then you just say, okay, it's okay. She didn't mean to be mean-spirited. That was just the way she was reacting that day. I just have to have compassion and understanding around it and try not to take it personally. I recommend to people all the time, read the book, The 4 Agreements.
I love that book.
It is a fantastic book. It was the first book I read in 2013 after my partner of 10 years and I separated, and I went through my transformation, and that was the first book I read. And I'll tell you, I reread that book once a year because it's a really solid, it gives you the foundation. So I really highly recommend you read it. Read that book, The 4 Agreements.
And they added a 5th agreement. What was the 5th one?
Oh, there is a 5th one. I'm not certain what it is, but the author is Miguel Ruiz. So those of you check that one out.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, like sometimes we just got to remember our spiritual toolkit. The books that we have around us, even the movies. Yeah. By the things that we partake in, we're filling our cup up in a certain way. And being mindful of what we're filling that cup with.
Absolutely.
Is key. Every night lately, I've been going to sleep watching Harry Potter.
I love that.
And that's my form of meditation.
Mine is Flash Gordon.
And I will tell you, the lessons within Harry Potter is absolutely incredible. I don't have no idea why I'm speaking on this right now, but I feel like maybe, there's something within, your life that maybe you connect to. It could literally be watching Gilmore Girls.
Exactly. I love that. And the thing is, Harry Potter obviously makes you happy. Flash Gordon obviously makes me happy. Okay, so I do not own a TV, so I watch Netflix on my computer.
Yep.
And I really recommend and suggest to all you folks, be easy with the news and all that junk that you can take in, turn the TV off at a certain point, put some nice quiet. I like 528 hertz or 432 hertz. These are the hertz frequencies of love, and so put that on, and that's going to be very, very peaceful for you before you go to bed. But you have to be, I think you're right. What you fill your cup up with is how you're going to be. Yeah. So if you're watching a lot of or playing video games with shooting people or whatever, or watching watching a lot of news, it can really bring you down. It really can. So try cutting some of that stuff out and notice the difference. I promise you, you're going to feel different. You're going to be like, oh my God, Lisa and Catrielle were right. We were right. So, simple little modifications that you can make in your life so that you're moving with more ease and grace and creating a joyful life.
Joyful experience, yeah.
Joyful experiences every day. And by creating those joyful experiences for ourselves, guess what? Anybody around us is also going to feel joyful. I know I walk around and I have people say, and I say this very humbly, I feel so good around you. I feel happy around you. That's because I'm happy, I am a happy person. I get up, I have my coffee, I do my yoga, I meditate. I have a certain routine. But at the same time, I take that routine and I change it up. So energetically, like if you're feeling stuck, or that feeling all that noise from the planet, you got to change it up. Say, okay, be spontaneous. If that means jumping in your car and blasting Rolling Stones music or something, and you're rocking the mic or whatever that looks like, then do that. Do what you need to do to kind of shake it off. I've gotten up and, I might be feeling the collective energy and I can clear it with some sage or whatever. But sometimes I will put the Justin Timberlake song on, Just Got the Feeling. And I turn it up in my apartment as loud as I can. And I dance all over my apartment. And it feels so good. Silly, fun, and light, right?
You taught me something. I did not know that was Justin Timberlake. It's really funny. But it's so true. Mm-hmm. And I said something before on Energy Speaks podcast, like before, about like doing something different, like going and taking a drive and taking a different route.
Yes.
My buddy Jamal told me he tried that and it helped. It's what it's doing is imagine the roads as neural pathways. And when we decide to just kind of like intuitively feel which way we want to go, we shake things up and we create new neural pathways. Mm-hmm. And so, like, again, everything's a mirror. Not just like the people we're around, but the things that are in front of us. So that could be the route we're taking. So, like you said, like it's time, like if we're feeling stuck, like, or we don't know which way to go, just do like something different.
Something really different. I love that route idea in changing your route, because think about it. All of a sudden, you're seeing something new and different. Hi, Jamal.
We just spoke you in.
That is the idea. I tell people that, I feel it's really important. Stimulate your 5 senses every single day. So like when I go for a walk, I hug a tree because I want to take in the energy of that tree. It's grounding and it's beautiful. I'll smell flowers. I'll touch the flowers and just feel the softness, what I'm looking at, what I'm hearing. I'll hear the mockingbird singing, and I just take in, I'll hear the fountain in the pond going off and being around that purifying energy of water. So when you stimulate those 5 senses and maybe even take in a different food that you haven't had before, that just changes everything up energetically. Remember, we're energy, and we change that up. It's going to move some stuff inside of us. It's going to shift things, maybe very subtly, or maybe in a more noticeable way. So try doing those little things, and I think you'll be really surprised.
Totally. Wow.
Yeah.
You want to do a meditation?
Yeah, we could do a meditation. Do you guys want to do a meditation? Yeah? Maybe a 5-minute one. So just if you guys didn't come in the beginning of this, my name is Lisa Bromfield. My practice is Take 5 Meditations. I am a psychic medium, energy healer, and a spiritual mentor. And I do healings all over the country. Thank goodness for Zoom and FaceTime, and I do them in person. And I also use a sound bath with my beautiful drum. So, I call my practice Take 5 Meditations because I don't believe, you guys, that you start with 30 minutes, you start with 5 minutes. That's manageable for you. Because most people will tell me, I'm too busy in my head, Lisa. I can't quiet it down. So what you want to do is start with something manageable, like 5 minutes, same time every single day, and pay attention to your breath. Yeah.
I want to introduce something to you guys because this is where it gets fun. And if you guys want to know more about this, just let me know. So I have what is called quintessence.
Ooh.
If you can see that. Quintessence, which is part of Orasoma, if you can see that. It might be backwards.
Yeah, we can put some notes in afterwards.
Yeah, we can put some notes in. So I did training for Orasoma, levels 1 through 3. And what the quintessence does is it allows us to connect with different higher frequency energies.
Ooh.
And so if you would like, I can also read what it's about too. Mm-hmm. We could pick one before we start the meditation.
Oh my goodness!
And bring in those frequencies to
see what happens. I don't know which one should we pick. Oh, I don't know.
Which one feels good to you?
I mean, love is all about being pink.
All right.
Yeah.
How about we both do that one?
All right.
I like it. What number is that?
My glasses on.
That's okay. 11.
Oh, 11, a master number. If you're into numerology, you can look up 11. That's a soul path number. So no surprise there that Catriel and I are doing our first podcast together tonight, and right on the cusp of a Mercury retrograde to celebrate.
So let's see here. It says, this is the Lao Tzu and Kuan Yin, the pale orange master quintessence. The quintessence that seeks back to the shocks of the past to free the timeline. Helps us to free ourselves from deeply instilled habits and negative thoughts. Kuan Yin is the goddess of compassion. Lao Tzu, the master alchemist of the past. Helps to understand what lies behind dis-ease. It is often in the patterns of the past. Spot on, right?
Spot on.
Well, I'll teach you guys how to do this, and just imagine this sweeping over you. So we're gonna just put some on our wrist.
Okay.
And
okay. All right.
And then and we're gonna rub it together.
Okay.
Just kind of wipe it throughout our auric field.
It's nice.
Whenever you're ready to start.
Okay. All right, you guys. Those of you that are on, I'd like you to just find a comfortable place to sit, and maybe take your shoes off and get your bare feet on the ground so you can just ground yourself. This is going to be very basic, just for you to get out of your head into the breath and get into a really comfortable place of working with the breath and moving into that place of inner peace. So as you sit comfortably in your chair or on your sofa, I just want you to pay attention for a moment of your breath, the in and out of your breath, and the up and down of the belly. In and out, up and down, taking in the beautiful life force with every breath. Up and down, in and out. And I want you to take a nice, deep, cleansing breath through your nostrils, right through your nose. Take as deep as you can. And open your mouth and exhale it with a noise. Let it all out. A nice long exhale. And I want you to do that one more time. I take that deep inhalation through your nose and let it go. Nice long exhale. And you're staying with the in and out of the breath, the up and down of the belly, in and out, up and down. And if you get into a passing thought, that's okay. Let that thought pass, and I want you to return your attention back to the rising and the falling of your belly. Up and down, up and down in that natural rhythm. Breathing in love for yourself, exhaling everything that does not serve your highest and best good. Inhaling kindness and compassion for yourself. And exhaling the gray matter, the other things that don't serve you. And staying with the in and out of the breath. Now I want you to start at your head and your neck, and let's get you even more relaxed. And you have to nod your head left and right or up and down. Just make sure your neck and your head are relaxed and your jaw is relaxed. Good. Staying with the breath. And we work down to the shoulders, and I want you to literally feel your shoulders drop and relax them. And that beautiful relaxation, you can feel this warmth of relaxation, a wave of relaxation going down your arms into your hands and fingertips, and you can feel your fingertips tingling as your arms get heavier because you're now sinking more deeply into your chair. In and out, up and down. And this beautiful warmth and this love and this compassion that you are giving yourself now with every breath works its way down your chest and your back and your belly, massaging every inch of your body. You can feel this warmth working its way down your legs, down to your feet and out your toes, tingling down there now with the in and out of the breath and the up and down of the belly, nourishing every cell of your body with love. And you can almost feel a pink aura around you. You can see it even with your eyes closed. This pink, loving aura surrounding you in a bubble of love. You are so loved in every way. You are supported in all ways. Tell yourself, I am deserving of everything beautiful in my life. I am worthy. Can you feel that love and that warmth surrounding you with each breath? It feels so good, doesn't it? As you now feel how relaxed you are in this beautiful place that you can visit anytime you want, every single day. You can love yourself like this. You stay with the breath and the in and out of the belly, up and down, in and out. And gently as you begin to come out of the meditation, wiggle your fingers and toes gently, coming back into your human body, your human experience, noticing how differently you feel. Notice, take a moment. How do you feel? And staying with the breath. And taking your time, you gently and very slowly begin to let your eyes open, coming back into the space that you're in, looking at things differently, feeling different, feeling that beautiful aura of pink love all around you. And so it is.
So it is.
I think your phone died.
Whoa. That was incredible. Whoa. Oh.
Okay.
For what we just spoke about, and then reading that, and then doing that, I love how synchronistic it is.
It all worked out.
So
Spirit
beautiful.
shows me where to go on this. Yeah.
Amen.
So those of you that were on Instagram, we're sorry that the phone the battery did kind of go out on us, but that's okay. We will continue.
I think it was just literally the...
maybe it's just the connection then. So we're going to try to reconnect here for a moment and see if we can get back on for you guys. Oh, it looks like it just wants to save it.
But, well, let's keep talking.
Okay, yeah. So I hope that you all enjoyed that. That's a very basic meditation, and it's a really great way to start your practice. So I tell people who work with me that you really have to start with guided meditations. And the reason for that is because they're going to keep your mind a little busier. There's so many things that distract us today. We're thinking ahead of what are we supposed to do today? What do we have to do at work? Et cetera, et cetera. So the idea is you want to be able to get out of your busy head. And one of the best ways to do that, and the way I actually did it, was in guided meditations. So you can find some literally on my Take 5 Meditations YouTube page, or you can find something on YouTube. There's thousands of meditations on YouTube. So check those out. But, again, you don't have to be a monk to get into meditation. I think that this is a real example of just getting into the breath. You see how basic it was? I didn't keep you guys in it that long, but I got you into a place where you were super relaxed. And you come out of it feeling differently. You can start your meditation in the morning, do it in the morning, and if you feel like doing a second one in the evening, then definitely go for it. But develop the habit of doing it every day. I really think it's a great way to start your day. First thing in the morning, do it. That way you launch into your day in a really beautiful way.
And there's something with that, doing things in the morning, and even before you open your eyes, just kind of getting into that meditative state because you're coming out. For me, I always kind of have one of those moments. In Judaism, we like to do Modeh Ani, and Modeh Ani is literally gratitude. And so we're supposed to do that before we even open our eyes. And so it's like taking that energy and building on it, because say you say a little bit of gratitude and then step into your meditation in the morning. How, try an experiment, and see if that shifts something within your life.
And it will. Gratitude is one of the most powerful practices that you can have. It expands everything, even in the most challenging of situations. If you can find something that you can be grateful for for you, then it's going to expand everything. And you're right. When you're just waking up, I believe you're coming out of the theta state. This is a really great place to connect with spirit. When you're in that state, and for you to ask for things. And, people say to me, well, Lisa, how can I ask for things? That doesn't seem humble. Well, heck yeah. Ask your 21 angels of pure light of God, or your higher power, or whomever that may be. Yeah. Ask them for what you need. Now, it doesn't mean you ask for $1 million, right? But, you ask them for those simple things that you're looking to create in your life. And I promise you they'll start showing up. But you're right. Starting your day with gratitude is a beautiful, beautiful way to step into your day.
And I like that you said ask, because if you don't ask, you don't receive. And that's the thing, is we a lot of times associate asking with just, external things, which there's nothing wrong with that. If you were literally on the streets and you had no home and you wanted a home, don't you feel like you can have a conversation with your creator about, hey, I love you. Is there any way that I can have a safe stay tonight? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And that means you don't have to be in a place of, in an extreme to ask questions.
Yeah.
You can always ask, like, say you're having a difficult time with something and you're like, or maybe you're having a great time with something. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Yeah. You can ask for more love in your life, more unconditional love in your life. You can ask for more, balance in your life. Like, there's so many ways, but if we don't ask the question, we're not telling the universe, like, we're ready to receive.
That's it. And you got to be open to it, right? So, hey, we've all had situations with either people in our family or relationships who we've gotten burned. But what we've got to do is just, through forgiveness, like we discussed earlier, you open up, you're vulnerable, and say, I am ready to receive.
And that's sometimes the hardest thing. And because a lot of times we get our mind involved saying, are we worthy? Well, we were all created equal.
That's right.
We were all created by a creator. And why were we given Eden? If you believe in that story, of course. But I'm going with that just because it's like everything was in Eden. So no matter which way you slice it, we were given gold. We just have to believe we can receive that.
Exactly. It's feeling you're deserving, right? So you've got to get to that place where you're deserving of it. And the idea is when you get into lack, and you're like, well, I don't have this and I don't have enough money and this and that and the other. You get into lack, you get into that victim energy, you're going to keep creating that because that's what you're attracting. When you say to the universe, and I say this every morning, I am abundant in all ways and all forms in my life, because abundance isn't just money. It's love, it's support, it's wisdom, it's knowledge. Abundance is so much more, right? So we get into that place where our heart is full and abundant. Guess what? You're going to start attracting the same thing.
Exactly. And within this beautiful, lovely season of Libra, it's all about being able to receiving that love, receiving that balance, and also giving. And so that can be flipped inward. What are you giving yourself? Which means you're receiving something too. They go hand in hand. But we got a lot of magical energy,
Sure do,
coming up in the seasons and to come, and It's just like today. Just today. You know, I want to put that out there because I'm very transparent with things. Okay? This morning I woke up. I was going to my buddy's house. We were praying Shachrit. We're gonna, shake the luav and etrog in the sukkah. You guys probably have no idea what I'm saying, but that is okay. Okay. And I knew I had to go and do a podcast this morning. Well, before I got to the studio, Envision Cafe. By the way, thank you, Envision Creative Cafe.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
This beautiful space for us to be able to create. I went to Jamal's house, and by golly, he's ready to do a podcast. I got 2 on the schedule. Sweet. I booked 4 hours, and I had no idea what I was going to do with it.
Love that.
But that's the thing, is I had no clue why I was doing what I was doing. We don't have to know the answers. Mm-hmm. We just have to follow the truth within ourselves. Follow that through. Mm-hmm. Kind of like in basketball, the follow through.
Yeah.
And when we do that, the universe, Hashem, provides. And so I was ready. I was ready to step into whatever it was, I didn't have an attachment to what it looked like. That's key. Then this beautiful being over here sat down with me, and we're having a beautiful podcast conversation. And right after we're complete, by the way, it goes live, I believe, October 20th. So you're getting this first, which is hilarious. She said to me, "We should do a radio station." Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. And then we went downstairs, and I'm thinking this is going to be in the future. Mm-hmm. We're both probably thinking that.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to happen today.
Yeah, exactly. I go downstairs, there's Jamal. Okay, we're ready for, game time on podcast number 2. But there's a bigger picture here. Then we start talking through. I could have been like, no, we need to stop this conversation. We need to get up there and do the podcast. I could have been like that, but I didn't, because I was just going with the flow, And then I was like, well, we're talking about all these beautiful details. It sounds like we're pretty much on the same page here. And then we're like, well, I have 2 hours tonight of podcast time. Do you want to do something? Yeah. And let's throw it in the air and see what sticks. Mm-hmm. Jupiter.
That's right.
But that's the thing, is the magic happens when we're ready to receive and we put something out into the universe. I know from my perspective, I had put this in the universe of having a partner with podcasts for a good 2 years. Mm-hmm. She didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I've never done a podcast. Okay, folks, look, I'm 60 years old. I may not look it, but all of this technology and whatnot, as I've been rolling out my own practice via Facebook and Instagram and now TikTok and YouTube and such, this is all new to me. So, and then when we spoke podcasts, I'm like, okay. And Jamal's like, yeah, it's the latest and the greatest. It's the bee's knees. You got to do it. I'm like, I'm all in, and I had a lot of fun doing the podcast this morning. I'm enjoying doing this. It's very interactive, and I think that we can really impart some beautiful messages to people out there about energy and how it speaks and how we can transform ourselves.
Exactly. And one thing I want to say to y'all, when you're listening, if you're listening, is if you're on a live and you're on, throw out questions, throw out topics that you'd like to talk about. We're open and flexible. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's ourself with the universe right now.
Yeah.
Just again, energy speaks.
Energy speak. We wanted to do this on YouTube. We couldn't get our YouTube on our phones to work here, and I think it's because it's coming from a different internet connection. So, what we want to do is be able to do on YouTube where you can make comments, and that should be a pretty simple format. So we're hoping that this format will be on YouTube, and we do want your questions and your input and your anything that you want to throw at us. Let's have the conversation, because that's what this is an open forum for.
Exactly. And it will really, really help if you go and subscribe on Energy Speaks with Catriel. For the YouTube, I think that's part of a key there. Okay. with having subscribers or something. I don't know. I live under a rock.
Yeah. Subscribe, and then you can watch us and see us. But, we plan to do this every single Sunday. So, that's when you can see us live. And we're really looking forward to seeing what kind of content comes up and the kind of discussions that we can have to really help and lift everybody, because that's really what we want to do. We want to, as you rise, I rise. As I rise, you rise.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And we come together as one. So, if you have any questions, please message me on here, or if you have any topics you want to talk about, we can always, put them on our list for next Sunday.
Definitely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tune out?
Yeah, we can do a little tune out. Absolutely. Wind it down here today. So we really appreciate all of you guys coming.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. Ooh, okay. Ooh. What a day. Never expected to be doing podcasts.
That is Energy Speaks podcast live with Lisa and Catriel. Thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you so much. Join us next Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m.
Yes. Shalom.